Hey everybody, it's Big E again. I got a treat for you guys today. This is gonna be a review on a vintage 1974 CompuChron LED watch, and this is not a normal LED watch. It's actually a pretty special LED watch, and I did a little bit of review on here. This watch is equipped with a Hughes aircraft, and that's billionaire Howard Hughes technology company chip in here. And this is one of the first digital quartz watches ever produced. And I know it's a really early model, especially for CompuChron, because it has a rectangle box instead of the oval box that came out. Many of them are in '76, so this one's ultra rare. And another way I know this is ultra rare is because this has the super rare dot matrix display. It doesn't have the LED bars, it has the LED dots. And I'll zoom in and give you a close picture of that. I don't know if you guys can pick that up. You see those little dots? It's a bunch of dots making the lines instead of the LED bars. That's called a LED dot matrix display. And this watch takes 2 batteries, and it's a really power hungry watch. The batteries only last about a year. And the reason those dots are there is because at the time when they made these first LED displays and they were so power hungry, that's why that's why you don't get a consistent display. You have to press the button to get the display, and you can't get a consistent display because the batteries would run down in a month if they stayed on all the time, like a TFT display or a LCD liquid crystal display of a new digital watch. So that's the reason why they only come on momentarily, is because it's really power hungry. And this, first generations were even more power hungry than the ones with the LED bars. That's why you have all those separate dots to try to curtail the watch using so much power when you light it up. Now this is a 3-button one. It has a setting button, and it has a time button, and it has a PM date button. This dot, when that's lit up, that's PM, and that is the day of the month. On these early digital watches, and that's all of them, it doesn't matter what brand it is, you know it's an early one if it doesn't display the date. It's only going to display the day of the month and the AM PM indicator. And you'll also know it's an older one, and one that's worth more, because it'll have a dot matrix display, all little tiny dots. That's what you want to look for. Now, this watch was produced in this movement is a 29mm used aircraft module. The later modules in '76 and up, which are more prevalent, those are the 25mm modules, and that's how you could differentiate two. But there's another way too. On the older ones, they usually have the 2 battery opening cases right here. On the newer ones, they'll just have a solid disc with both batteries underneath the case. This is what you want to look for. This is what you want to look for in the older watches. You want to look for the exposed battery ports. You want to look for the dot matrix display. If it doesn't have a dot matrix display, it almost isn't even worth buying, to be honest with you. But if it has this dot matrix display, and I can't help but play with it, it's what you really want. Now, I bought this off the original owner, and he never really wore it, and it's in really good condition. This was his dress watch, and he rarely went out, and he doesn't even really have desk diving marks on there. So this wasn't an everyday piece. If it was, it would be probably non-working and just about destroyed. But this case, as you can see on the back, was made in Japan, and CompuChron ordered thousands of these cases from this case maker, and then used aircraft in 1977, I believe. They just quit making the modules, and so it was just thousands of these cases abandoned. This case is a little different than the other cases because it's a rectangle case and not an oval window. So you know this case is really rare to find. It's really rare. Also, CompuChron made watches, the calculator watches in the hit series Battlestar Galactica. Lauren Green used to wear one of these. Now, another thing that's special about this movement is on the 29mm modules, they have a high frequency quartz oscillator in here. This oscillator was 786.432 hertz, and that's 24 times higher than the market standard of 32 hertz. So used aircraft probably was convinced that a large frequency quartz oscillator will probably deliver bulletproof timekeeping without the need of an adjustment rate. You know, so this is a non-temperature compensated watch, but I'm going to tell you right now, this watch keeps about 1 minute, 1 minute, or about one. If I hold them both down, you'll get the running seconds. It keeps about a second a month, about 1 second a month deviation. So about 10, 15 seconds a year probably. But by that time, you'd run out of battery anyway, and you change the battery. In the manual for this book, it states that the batteries will last 1 year if you check the time 20 times a day. So if you do that 20 times a day, the battery should last about a year. And so that's pretty cool. This has the same module as the 1974 Bulova Big Block, but on the Bulova it had that setting where it had a crown that you set all the digital time and date with. It didn't have the buttons. It had a crown. And then some other models used a little magnet to set. You put a magnet on the back of the watch and it would set the time and the date. This one has the conventional ways. It has the buttons, and it's pretty cool. So CompuChron is a pretty good watch overall for the money. These ones right here, honestly, I haven't seen any other ones in perfect working condition like this. This one is a survivor. It's a survivor. It's 100% unmolested. And the only thing that's not in here from 1974 is the batteries. That's the only thing that's not in here from back in the day. All the LEDs light up. It sets perfect. It keeps perfect time, and you can see it's in wonderful condition. And it's when you see a gem like this, you got to pick it up and don't really worry about the cost. Just if you ever see one in good condition like this, and it has the dot matrix display with all little dots, go ahead and grab that, even if it costs you $100, $150. If it works fine, and if it looks good, if it's a gold or a silver finish, CompuChron or any other brand, it really doesn't matter, even generic brand, if it has that dot matrix display and it works good, you know it's most likely an older watch, and it's most likely gonna be worth what you paid for it, because they're not really expensive, but they're really hard to find, and they're really hard to fix. So now, if you get to the case is all stainless steel, and it's 18 karat gold plated. That's real gold All these watches back in the day, it was real gold, and it's plated a certain amount of microns. I don't know how many microns, but none of it is worn off, and it'll never wear off in my possession because I'm probably never really going to wear this a lot. It has a fold-over clasp, and the watch fits great. As for the size of the watch, I want to say it's probably going to be about the size of a 36 mil Rolex. I'll compare it to my Mito I have on. My Mito is a 42, so if you want to compare about that, it would be about the size of a nice dress watch, would be about a 39 mil. And I'll try it on my wrist. My wrist is 7.25 inches, and it looks perfect on my wrist. Has a nice K-shape, really nice finishing, really nice brushing, a decent clasp, especially for 1974. Lots of adjustment holes on both ends. You can adjust on both ends of the clasp, and I really like it, and it is definitely a keeper. So that's my quick look at a beautiful CompuChron. Why don't you leave a comment and let me know what you think about this watch. A couple other things about this watch before I go. Company is called Unisonic. That's who had this CompuChron brand, and they used Howard Hughes used aircraft 29 millimeter or 25 millimeter used aircraft modules, and you'll know them because it has the buttons at the 2 and the 8 o'clock, so you'll know what to look for. But you want the dot matrix display if you buy one of these. Just keep that in mind in the back of your head. Dot matrix display. If you get the one with the bars, they're nice too, but the one that's going to retain the value is the ones with the dot matrix display. And if you have a high-end one like an Omega or a Tiffany and Company, something like that, you know it's going to be a higher end as far as price wise. But I'm fine with the lower end Japanese case Howard Hughes CompuChron from Unisonic. And that's my look at this vintage watch. There's not too much to say about it. It's a beautiful watch. You guys leave a comment and let me know what you think. My name is Big E, and I'm out. God bless.